Hi guys, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Today we are going to be working on this Kawasaki Er6N. I bought this bike a couple of months ago. It had an accident. I repainted it, fixed it up, gave it service, and today we are going to change the last parts. We are going to be changing the handlebars, the rear passenger grips, adding some mirrors, changing the brake and clutch lever. So the first thing we do when we get started on a bike is taking off the light controls and the throttle handle and the clutch handle. So let's do that first. Right, to do this job you only need a few basic tools. You have your head ski, Phillips head screwdriver, flat head screwdriver, and in this case a 10mm socket. Depending on your bike you can use different tools, but for this one it's pretty easy. So let's get started. So the first thing you do is take off the switches, and you do that by using the simple Phillips head screwdriver. So let's do that first. Depending if your cables are long enough, you can take it entirely open, or you just can slide it off. In this case, the cables are too short, so we have to screw it all the way open. Like in this case, the bottom screw and the top screw are different sizes. Keep in mind which one goes where, they're not interchangeable. So now you can take it open. Take out the throttle cables, and there's their first part. Now you do the same on the other side. There you go. Now you can slide off this one. Mostly it's firmly stuck, so you use WD-40 or an air blower. Time to get this one going. Hey, that did the trick. Throw this one out. Next thing you'll want to be doing is taking off the brake lever and the clutch lever. In most cases use the hex key, sometimes an 8mm socket, sometimes a 10mm socket. In this case it's a hex key, so let's take them off. Make sure you don't drop anything on your fresh paint. Now it's finally time to take off your handlebars. In most cases it's stuck with 4 bolts. Make sure you do them in a cross pattern so you don't twist or put stress on the bolts more than necessary. So now that the handlebars are off, it's a good idea to take a clean on those hard to reach places. Now that you gave it a good fresh clean, it's time to present your new fresh handlebars onto it. So just take your fresh handlebars, put them where you want it to, and you can bolt them up. There are always marks on the handlebar itself where it meets up in the clamps. Pay attention to those. Just as you did when loosening them, you tighten them in a cross pattern. There you go, and that's a pair of new handlebars. Now, you can always leave them a little loose and adjust the riding position when everything is on, and you can set the bike back on the ground. Next thing we're going to do is mount the switches back, the levers and the handles themselves. A good place to begin is where you left off, so that everything in reverse. You start by putting the handles back. The book bag switches, in most cases there's a little tab on the inside that fits the hole on your steering bar. These were adjusted for the other handlebar, so now it will slide around. To do that, we just make the bars thicker using some electrical tape. I have some really sticky cloth tape that is real handy for these situations. You can always adjust the angle of these once you finished everything up. Now we go to the other side. It's the same story, so we use some tape around this one as well. Once you're finished having a fight with these cables, you can put the screws back. There you go. That's that. Next thing you'll be wanting to do is put back your levers. And it always has an ups and a downside. There you go. That's one done. And now we can go to the other side. There you go, that's the stock handlebar back and mounted. Next thing we'll do is change out these levers, which is quite easy, even a little easier than changing the entire handlebars. So let's do it. So to change these, we just unscrew this little screw right here and the same on the other side, and that's it. You take your flathead screwdriver, you take it off, and that's it. Presto. Before you go ahead and put everything back, just make sure both pieces are the same which you are replacing. It will save you some headache when you're trying to figure out how to put it back. So now that it is removed, you can just simply slide in the new part. Put your new screw right through there. Screw it down. Make sure it's tight, and you're done. New brake lever. That one uses 10mm socket, but you don't turn it from the top. There's a little nut on the bottom side, which you unscrew, and then you can take this one out. First thing you need to do is take out your clutch cable. If you look closely, you can see there's a slot going across which you can guide the cable through to get it out of the handle. Take out your screw, take out the handle, now you can see the cable running inside. Then it's just the point of taking it out. Now that we got it out, it's time to compare the two parts. As you can see, they're quite identical, which is perfect for us. Like I said, they're basically identical. There's too much play in this. So you take the bushing from the old lever and slide it in this one. Put your screw back, and once it's tightened up, it will be much better. Next thing to do is adjust your clutch back. You always want a little play before the clutch really engages. There you go. And that, guys, is your new handlebar with brand new, fresh CNC mirrors. There is still one thing we didn't do yet, and that is install mirrors. They're quite easy. As you can see, it has a bushing with a nut and a bolt going through it. Thing is, if you tension the bolt, it expands on the nuts, the rubber expands and it's stuck in your handlebars. So let's do it. So it's quite easy, you just slide it in to the end and lock it. Do the same for the other side. Slide it in. That's tight. Now when you're on the bike, you have a nice view on what's happening behind you. Next thing I want to do today is install these handles for when you have a passenger. To do that, you simply open the seat, so you can take it off. You have 4 bolts which will hold the body and hold the handles. So unscrew those, put the handles on and screw everything back together. I don't really have the correct tool for these, but anything that fits will work. That's the first part done. Now you simply take your handle, line it up, screw it back down, and do the same for the other side. There you go. And would you look at that, it's Starting to look like an entire new bike.